There's a famous शाहरुख खान dialogue, घर हमेशा अपनी औकात से थोड़ा ज्यादा ही खरीदना चाहिए because उसकी वजह से
the middle class worker is just priced out of the market.
if you're a first time buyer, you should be avoiding the first time builder. Last cycle, which was 2013, 2014. We are sitting in 25. These projects have not. Oris, Amrapali, JP, Unitex, so many developers which were not able to deliver their projects on time.
This house is worth 4.5 crores. So if I want to buy this house right now, I need to be earning 6 lakh per month. And that, if you just do the math quickly, it just amounts to 1 crore per annum.
Start your research 1 to 2 years before. Talking to 4 brokers is not your research. Other things I would say, do not take verbal commitments.
I've heard this from a lot of the real estate brokers and builders. They said their prices might not correct, but they will stay stable for the next 3 years. Even if they stay stable for the next 3 years, I'm going to let my money run at 12% for the next 3 years and then build my corpus and then buy the house. Why would I want a 0% return for the next 3 years?
When a developer says that everything is 2.5 CR all inclusive, most likely that's not the case. Probably the pricing would start at BSP.
There's an interesting perspective in cities where there's good public infrastructure. The real estate prices are actually low.
Hey everyone, if you are buying your first home, then this video is for you. We spoke to a real estate advisor and a buyer to answer 4 key questions on selection of property, why are prices rising, and if they will drop in the near future, how to afford it, and lastly, costly mistakes to avoid. So let's get started.
I am Gaurav Gupta. I am a CFA by education. Today, I am a partner at Zeno Realty. We also have a dedicated Zeno research arm where we help HNIs, ultra HNIs, and NRIs manage their real estate investments into real estate in Pan NCR.
Hi, my name is Hitesh. I've been looking for a house for the last 1 year or so because I recently got married in 2023. And of course, to have a stable life, home is something which even our parents, it's a general idea that in order to be stable in life, one needs to buy a home.
To begin with, could you please tell us what factors one should consider while selecting a property?
People say location is very important, but beyond location, if you're considering, if you're an end user who's looking to use it for an end use, an apartment is something that you're looking, I would put builder's credibility even on top of location, because I must tell you that it had happened in the last cycle. It will definitely happen in this cycle also. Almost 20% of the developers will not be able to complete their projects. It will not only be just delayed, but a lot of these projects could get stuck because of just natural dynamics. So builder's credibility is on top of everything that you could probably stay 10 minutes further, but if the developer is someone who will be able to complete the project, I would want to give that the topmost priority. Second number for me would be the location, the social infra around that. If the good schools are there in the vicinity, that would be a consideration for a lot of guys, because we are talking about probably those who are a little around their 30s. So the kids' education would be topmost priority for them, and around just everything like medical cares and all these things are in the vicinity or not. Then third, I would also want people to focus on the construction quality that a builder is building. Is it a My1? Is it a non-My1? Is it a brick cladding? Is it a ash brick? So these are kind of, because this will also determine for how long those apartments will last in their good conditions, right? To check a builder's construction quality, you could probably visit their earlier projects, what is happening there. It's also mentioned in the BBAs and everything, the kind of grading, the kind of specifications that they're going to put in a build in that particular project. So have a thorough analysis on that, the kind of consultant that they're working, the kind of construction partner they've hired. That in itself is a major giveaway on what sort of construction, because there are these big players like Shapurji, L&T, Ahluwalia's contract. So these guys are very credible. If your project is getting constructed by these guys, these are top of the levels, and then there are B and C sort of levels. And then a little bit check on builders' delivery timelines. In the last project, I would definitely tell, if you're a first-time buyer, you should be avoiding the first-time builder. How much ever the incentive is there in terms of pricing, always avoid that. Look into builder's background, how much of the delivery they have done in the past? Was it in time? And what are the people saying, those who are living in these projects? You could also see it on HRERA's website complaint departments. If there is any particular customer segment that is raising consistent complaints against a particular developer. So there's a complaint status segment in the HRR's website where you can see about any builder's credibility. So that's a good point to check. Another aspect I would also say that what in the neighborhood, you should do your research if that is particular micro market is something that is going to see a lot of roads development, if there is any metro planned over there, or there is any major connectivity to the expressway that is proposed or that is in the pipeline. Because generally, typically, that's where the most of the demand also comes in from the buyers, and that's where the major development is also happening. So it will also help you in any price appreciation, plus that will be the future development which will come out to be.
Location is a big factor in determining, where to stay, where to get the property. There's an interesting perspective on this. Is in cities where there's good public infrastructure, there are good roads, good metros, AC buses, all that. The real estate prices are actually low because uh, people are okay traveling to their workplaces because their commute is very comfortable. But in places like Bangalore, where the road infrastructure, as we all know, is not that great, the metro and the public transit system, again, not that great, but decent, people are willing to pay a hefty premium to just live close to their workplace and then avoid the commute. So in those cities, we see that there is a lot of shoot up in the real estate prices because of people willing to pay a premium to live close to their workplaces. So if you look at cities like Hyderabad, where there's amazing road infrastructure, amazing metro connectivity, even Delhi for that matter, amazing road connectivity, but Gurgaon, the roads are good, but the public transit is just non existent. So my thought is I would rather make the trade off by living away from a good location or a prime location and buy a bigger house rather than stay in a prime location and buy a smaller house for the same price.
Why do you think prices are rising?
Probably someone who's starting their journey now, I would like to tell them to look back. Real estate prices and real estate moves in cycles. So if we look at it from 2014 to 2019, if we talk about just NCR, uh, there was a lot of cases where a lot of developers went bankrupt. The investor sentiment almost came to zero. Nobody was trusting developers to park their money with. So there was hardly any supply. Cut to COVID, what happened was everyone started realizing the importance of a space, importance of owning a house, and with how hybrid systems are also there, people have started to work from their homes. They need a separate room just for be able to work from there. And during that time, COVID, initially the governments also gave some incentives. So again, there was a liquidity push. So all of that resulted into that everyone started looking into real estate. A lot of people talk about the pricing also, demand and supply, but there is another aspect to real estate is also the liquidity part of it. What I mean by liquidity, if someone has sold in real estate, the real estate money eventually finds their way back into real estate itself because of the capital gains and other tax advantage that our government offers. If someone has sold something worth 2 cr, they will are again going to buy it worth 3 cr or something. They will always stretch themselves. So that's why a lot of guys from builder floors and independent villas, not just from Gurgaon moving to high rises, but a lot of guys from Delhi are also moving to Noida and Gurgaon. And that doesn't look like to stop at any time, because this is a network effect which takes time initially, but once it happens, you cannot go back. You cannot turn the clock back.
Do you think prices will drop in the near future?
There is enough demand while we are on the field. There is enough demand again from end users, those who are actively looking for an end use even today. Probably there would always be some distressed deals where we are sitting today. in 2025 with how stock markets are also doing, there would always be some guys who would probably be looking, they would be stretched out too thin and probably would be looking to, offset these deals in the market. But I do not see in another 1 to 2 years there would be price cut, at least in NCR. Probably it could happen in Mumbai while we're speaking. There is already an oversupply zone. Inventory overhang is basically something that how much inventory is with the developers, right? So in that terms, NCR and Bangalore are at the lowest at the moment. So that's why it just shows that how much of demand is, and whatever supply is coming, it's naturally getting absorbed by the demand which is coming. So that's why Bangalore, in terms of pricing, also is that micro market where it is the most stable. I do not see, probably NCR could still see price cuts, but Bangalore, I do not think so. That even over there, around in next 2 years also there is something. So it is the most balanced at the moment amongst all the metros. When I talk about Gurgaon, again, like I said, probably some tier 2, tier 3 developers could break in. The top tier developers are sitting on the best balance sheet. They can afford to have sustain and sell in, like how it used to happen before COVID. So they probably would, instead of bringing the entire 1,000 sort of inventory of units in one go, they could bring it in phases. But I do not think so they will bring it at a lower prices. Price will break where the individuals are there. Developers might not break it, but individuals could. Like I was saying, if someone is like spread too thin or had some losses in the market or somewhere else, probably these guys would be looking to offset in the market and, close off, square off their positions.
I've heard this from a lot of the real estate brokers and builders who I reach out to, to buy a house. They said their prices might not correct, but they will stay stable for the next 3 years. But the correction will not be there. If that's the case, I'm going to let my money run at 12% per annum for the next 3 years rather than putting all my money into an illiquid asset class and then let it stay. So I'll delay my decision to buy a house and like to pull the trigger, because again, why would I want a 0% return for the next 3 years, right? It's not a decision of whether to buy a house, it's a decision of when to buy a house, right? So that's my thought on this.
Yeah. How can someone afford it? Are there any bank incentives, payment plans, or other options available?
If I have to honestly advise someone, I would say to only look at your own considerations. Are amenities something that are very important to you? Is it something that you have time for? Then go for apartments. Otherwise, if I talk about an NCR, there are other options which are builder floors. They might be, some of them might be in gated communities, some of them might not be. So is safety a very important consideration for you? It is a very personal question in that particular market also. So again, that's something that one needs to check, because apartments comes at a premium pricing than builder floors and open these floors. And another also aspect that I would also want to highlight people to think about it, US probably has this concept which is called starter homes. So you buy as a couple, if you're newly married, you buy your first house, which is more like a studio condo, and then you build your equity gradually. Probably it will work for you for 3 to 4 years in your life, initially in the beginning, and then you gradually upgrade your life. There's a famous Shah Rukh Khan dialogue that it says कि घर हमेशा अपनी औकात से थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही खरीदना चाहिए, because उसकी वजह से you'll end up working also more, but you should not also stretch out yourself too thin. That is what I'm trying to tell. Also, coming back on how can someone afford these houses? If someone is starting, I would say to build again to build a equity, probably gradually there are these payment plans, staggered payment plans that one can look at. Let me share some calculations around payment plans that we can look at it. Different payment plans that are offered. Here, if you'll see, there are various kind of payment plans that typically in under construction properties one can see. Typically, what we see in under construction is a CLP, which is called construction link plan. As in how the construction would happen, the developer would start commanding the payments and your bank would start dispersing. So probably in the first year, you would have 30% payment going to them in a CLP. Then in the next year, 20%. Then in the third year, 10%, 15%. Fourth year, again, similarly, 15, 20%. And then you could similarly see on the possession, 20%. So that would be 100% in the construction link plan. Most developers have sold it on construction link plan, but how we are in the market, and that is where value deals do come in. Few developers could offer it, and that's where if you're first time buyer, you could get added advantage, something like a payment plan of say 30/70. Now if you'll compare it and you see, you just pay 30% in the beginning, the first within the 6 months, and then second year, third year, fourth year, you do not pay end up anything. Then probably directly on 70% payment you will give close to possession. There is another payment plan, not as flexible but very similar, is 30/40/30. In that, 30% you pay in the beginning, 40% around on superstructure when the entire structure is built up, and then there is finishing work that a developer does inside of it. That in itself can take another 1.5-2 years. So another 30% payment would come closer to possession. So this is 30/40/30. And there are other payment plans like 20/5, where every year your disbursement would be the same, 20% every year you pay. So these are different payment plans, and like a lot of payment plans are are a variance of this. Developers could have it 20/80, 10/90, and there could be 60/40, 40/60. So this is typically the milestones. On the side also you'll see we have created different milestones that typically comes in: completion of 10th floor, 20th floor, completion of lift works, application of OC. OC is when authorities would come in and check if there are all fire uh, permissions and everything, that builder, that all the compliances have been checked in. What builder promised at the time of selling, all those parameters have been checked in, like the clubhouse has been ready and everything. So that's when authorities provide the OC. If your project has an OC, that means everything has been checked out, and almost from there 6 months it takes for the possession to come in. So OC is also something that one should look at.
There's another very interesting thing which not a lot of people know, is that you can take the home loan as an overdraft. So rather than just getting the entire loan disbursed into your bank account, you can just ask for the bank for an overdraft facility. So again, there'll be close to 30 basis points extra that you might have to pay. So from 8%, your interest rate might go up to 8.3%. But then in that, you'll have the flexibility to prepay your loan and withdraw that amount as you wish. And the interest will only be calculated on the amount that is drawn. So technically, you can just dump all your salary into that OD account and then use it as per your needs. That way, in terms of the total interest outlay, even if your interest percentage is 8.3, you're going to pay a lesser amount because you're managing your liquidity in an efficient way, where the amount that is used from the OD is reduced. I'll take my example. So I'm planning to take a 3.5 crore loan. So instead of asking the bank, disburse that 3.5 CR to me entirely at once, I'm going to ask them for an overdraft and I'll pay that 30 basis point extra. So now I have a facility of 3.5 crores with me. I can withdraw that money at any time. So let's say I want to pay the seller right now. I'm going to withdraw 3.5. I'm going to give it to them. I'll pay the stamp duty, etc. Get the registration done, and that's it. And now, once I get my salary and I have any additional money lying around in any bank account, I pay, let's say, 10 lakhs into my OD account. Now my amount outstanding is 3.5 minus 10 lakhs. That is 3.5, 3.4 crores. So any additional liquidity that I come into through any means like my annual bonus, etc., I'm just going to dump that money into my OD account. But let's say I want to withdraw that money again. So let's say I put in 10 lakhs, my amount is reduced to 3.4. I want to withdraw 5 lakhs, my amount can increase to 3.45. So that way I have the flexibility to manage my finances and then play around with my amount outstanding. That way, in a similar fashion, I cannot do it with a term loan where the amount is disbursed to me at once and I'm paying sort of these yearly monthly EMIs on the amount, because it's a very linear way to reduce my principal.
According to you, what are the common pitfalls one should be careful of?
See, that's where I think cyclicality of the real estate also comes in. I would say, like I also mentioned, 20% of the projects most likely will not give possession. So you have to be extremely considerate of builders' credibility. I would always suggest pay that 5-10% to be with a branded developer. We know so many cases. If you'll go on SPR, if you'll go around, travel around NCR, you'll see how so many projects are stuck. These are all launched in the last cycle, which was 2013, 2014. We are sitting in 25. These projects have not. Oris, Amrapali, JP, Unitech, so many developers which were not able to deliver their projects on time. So that's one thing that you'll have to first checklist. Others things I would say, do not trust broker. First of all, like always think you'll have to build a relationship with a trusted advisor. Whatever a sales RM is saying, whatever brokers are, because your relationship is with the builder, you will be sticking up with the builder for much larger, for 5 years, if not more. But with the broker, it's just still the transaction. Even with the sales RM, it's still the transaction. So you have to know which party you're doing it. So get everything in writing. Over it in email, they will not do it, but try as much as you can, all the commitments, what you would be getting, be it car parking, if it's not mentioned already in your cost sheet, be it EDC, IDC charges. So there are many things that come and, that can be just said, verbally committed to you, but would never see the light of the day. So you have to take everything in writing. Also want to highlight, there are a lot of other charges aspects that come to it. Some of people might not know about it. When a developer says that everything is, 2.5 CR all inclusive, most likely that's not the case. Probably the pricing would start at BSP. Then there are preferred location charges that come with it. So these are all the charges that one has to consider when we are looking into under construction. There is PLC that comes with it. There is a GST component, which is 5%, which is standard. 1% TDS you have to deduct from these payments. Then there are EDC, IDC charges, IFMS charges, interest fee maintenance that you pay to the society. And then there are also monthly maintenance charges that you would be paying once you'll take the possession. So that also one should keep in mind. For good projects, it's around 4, can go up to 7 plus 18% GST on it. So these are 7 rupees per square feet that we're talking about. So monthly you would be paying these till you would be staying in these societies. So only amongst these, the maintenance charge is something that you would be paying on a monthly basis. All of the others are one-time charges that you pay. So there is also one-time possession charge that you give at the time of possession. These can vary from 2 lakh up to 4 to 5 lakh depending on the builder. So these are also charges that come with it. Apart from that, only the maintenance that you would be paying to the society is recurring apart from your EMIs. So these charges are only for the under construction apartments that we are talking about. With ready to move in, all these charges are included in the box pricing that you end up paying. It's just the maintenance will be on top of that, which is a monthly thing depending on society to society and project to project. Start your research 1 to 2 years before you would actually end up, and tell them accordingly. So have that honest conversation so you'd understand the market. Plus, if that is not something that you are able to connect with, I would say check in your network. Who's someone, probably it could be your boss, it could be someone senior in your office, it could be your friend who has done a transaction, some relative of yours. Reach out to them, understand from their journey what was the pitfall, what was something that they were able to take out more from a transaction. So understand more from the guys, those who you trust. I think that's something that a lot of people I feel is lacking. Another one thing that I also would want to highlight is like how we saw in the stock market in last 3 to 4 years that everything was rising. Probably the stocks which were not great rose far more than the companies that were doing stably well. If they were rising 5%, these stock rose 15-20%. Similarly was the case in real estate. But I feel where we are in the juncture, not everything will rise. So you have to be very selective with the kind of premium properties that you're going. Only these criteria that we highlighted earlier, if they are matching that, based on all those things, these are the projects that you should be sticking to it, rather than venturing out and with great tier 2, tier 3 developers, which could come with their own risk. So that's something that you should be careful of.